Suleka. Hi, people listening from across the globe, from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka as well. Good evening. This is RJ Rudra for this evening's show on DC Live. Stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we share, and we are on air. How have you been, Suleka?
Yeah, great, Rudra. I was so happy about last session. We had 60 plus listeners.
Sure.
I mean, people who joined live. So we'll wait and watch how many are joining today.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I hope people liked the previous two shows, and then we had so much of participation, and I expect people to join us today as well, and they're listening across. Hi, people. Good evening. How are you all on a busy Monday? All right. So I know I can't hear you, but then you can definitely put in your messages on DC Live
Chat box, and also they can send it to the DC Live WhatsApp too.
Sure. Great. So, all right. So I just wanted to, I hope most of the listeners, joined us for the launch of DTouch this morning. And I hope everybody understood what is the concept of DTouch Gold and DTouch Platinum, and also the developmental career enhancement developmental model. Right. So if you have any questions around that, people, you can always reach out to me. There is a submission form on the link that I've shared. I will also be sharing the recording for that with Suleka, who probably will post it by tomorrow, because it's a little it's a 1 hour or a 45 minutes segment. So I'm just downloading it, and I will be sharing that with Suleka, and she will be putting it up on DC Live so that you can, all the people who missed can go back and listen to that again. Thanks for joining in on DC Live for this show. And this show is called The Grammatist, which is the second episode of the Grammatist show that we started last Monday. And then what are we going to do in Grammatist show is we're going to go ahead and learn how to speak English, and eventually at some point of time we are also going to look into how to write English. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we get to that stage, because on a radio you're going to be listening in to write English, so it's going to be very different when you do that. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is going to be 15 simple sentences for making requests in English. Suleka, what was the most challenging thing in English when you want to ask something to someone?
So now I don't find anything difficult, but initial stage when I tried to ask someone, I felt like grammar, it was a difficult part me to judge when I started speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which is the placement of words, the
Yes.
right way of asking it.
Yes.
And
So some we say like present, and some it is like present continuous or something. Sometimes I felt that was the initial stage. It was difficult for me actually.
Understood. So
Yeah.
Great. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly go ahead and talk about the sentences, 15 sentences that you make request with. All right, that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, why are requests so important? In an office environment, we collaborate to work. In an office environment or within a team, when we work along with a team, we always work together. We always go ahead and work as a single unit. So because of all of these, the 15, the sentences that we're going to be using, the phrases that you want to use, and making a request is going to be very, very important. That is why we would want to help you understand the 15 different scenarios or 15 different statements that you can make use of in a normal conversation. Not necessarily the office scenario. I'm going to cover across. Say, for instance, you're going to be you're sitting and dining, or you're having lunch along with your friend. All right, in a office cafeteria. All right, and the office cafeteria has the salt and pepper containers placed on the table. Right, let's take the scenario right now. You're having lunch along with your team member in the office cafeteria, and there's a salt and pepper containers placed on the side, where opposite side of where you're sitting. You want to ask your team member, give me that salt and pepper. Okay, What's the right way of doing it? People, think through what's the right way of doing it, asking for the salt and pepper, right? The easiest way, I'll give you many options. The normal option is, right? So that's what we do, right? We really don't open our mouth. We don't want to say anything. We just make actions. We just make the sound, which is the verbal sounds that, with which, without words, we just try to do that. Have you seen that happen, Srileka? Where you just make some, verbal sounds to get something done, right? You really don't use words, even in restaurants, right? Have you seen that happen? Where people just ask, "Can you hear me?"
Yeah, Rudra, but I'm not able to get. Yeah.
Okay, you're not able to relate, right? So where
Yes.
people where you just ask someone to, you raise your hand and point out at
Yeah,
and
we call them like
ask,
excuse me,
yeah,
hello,
right.
bro,
So
something like that. We
that,
call
right. So
them.
the right way of asking for that is, could you please pass the salt? I repeat, could you
Okay,
please pass the
got it.
salt? Right. So you ask them, could you please pass the salt, or may I have that salt container, right? Or pass me that salt container. So pass the salt container to me is a very direct statement. So now you want to ask it with respect. You want to sound polite. Then you use, could you please pass the salt? That is what is the right way of asking. Now, you want to ask, so this is done. You want to go ahead and seek some help while moving out off the dining table, or the lunch table, and then go to the office. And then you want to ask your colleague or a team member for some help. Now you're in a conversation. You want to ask them, can they help you with this? Now, how do you ask that? So you can always say, can you please help me with this? Or you want to sound a little different, can you help me with this, please? Is the way you can go ahead and ask them that, can you help me with this, please? You know what is this? This is something that you've already defined, and you are in a conversation, you are in between a conversation. You can always ask, can you help me with this, please? Okay. Now, you're done with this help, and then you're sitting in the office, you're sitting along with your colleague. When you're sitting and working, there's a thunderstorm, or it's wind blowing, and you would want your colleague sitting next to you near the window to close the window. How do you ask for that? So one sentence that you can ask is, can you please close the window? Can you please close the window is one way of asking. Another way of asking is, would you mind closing the window? Which is, would you mind closing the window? Is another way of asking. May I ask you to close the window? That's another way of asking. So three ways is what we can ask this in. One of my favorite is, um, can you please close the window? Right. So that's what it is. Now, you are unwinding during the course of the day. You're seated there after lunch, you're working on something, and you need to write, and you look for your pen, and you don't get a pen in your bag. Now you turn to the person sitting to the left of you and ask them, could I borrow your pen, please? Could I borrow your pen, please? Okay. Then now you ask for a pen. It also can be put across in a little politer way. May I have the pen, please? All right. Can I borrow your pen, please? Is the different ways of asking for a pen. Now, you finished up writing your document with that pen that you borrowed. You have returned that to them, and then you want to realize what's the time, and you don't find your mobile, or you don't find your watch to ask for the time. Then you want to ask for you want to ask the colleague sitting next to you for the time. So you would ask, could you tell me the time, please? Could you tell me the time, please? Or can you help me with the time? Are the options that you can ask for time. So this is where the five sentences that we have learned so far, I quickly repeat them. When you are at lunch table, or when you're dining with someone, you want to ask for that salt container. You say, could you please pass the salt? That's one. Now, can you help me with this, please? You want something to be done, so you can ask, can you help me with this, please? Now you want someone to close the window when you're sitting. That's, would you mind closing the window? You need a pen. You may ask, could I borrow your pen, please? All right. Now you want to know the time. Could you tell me the time, please? So these are the sentences that we have learned so far for different scenarios where you are asking people for something. These are sentences which is to ask for a request, right? So that is what it is. Now, so Srileka, you said initially you had challenges putting the right words for asking requests and all of that. What's the most toughest request you have placed ever, or what what really stops you from asking a request, right? Is it, one is the language, definitely. What is the other thing that makes you stop asking you for a request?
I cannot say this as tough, but when you make a request, there are different way of asking it, right?
Yeah.
Could you please, can you please, or all these things. So I feel sometimes like I'm using the same method of asking for the request.
Mm-hmm.
So when you ask in different, I mean, what to say, the exact one or based on the needs or what thing, I think that was a difficult one for me, like
repetitive, the same way.
Yeah, repetitive. So now the professionalism, like, no, we can to enhance the communication, right? We can use many different words to speak, right? So that was my big difficult. Yeah, I felt like same thing. I'm asking. I mean, using of words. Yeah.
Got it. So, see, I can help you with that. So the way you start a sentence is very important. Now, there are three ways to start a sentence. All right. One of them is can. Can you do this for me? Now, when you ask them, can you, it is a little, can is more of an ability, is what in English it says, right? So can you do this for me? Now, I can't do this for you, right? So that's the response that can is always something to the effect of you're always opening up someone to say, no, I can't. All right. So that's the way. Now, that's one thing. Can you hear me is the ability of a person to hear you. Can you hear me? All right. So yeah, the person can say, yes, I can hear you. No, I can't hear you. Now, whenever we use a can, these are the two actual responses that you can get from the other end. All right. Now, the other way of asking instead of a can is, would you? Right? Would you be able to help me with this? Would you be able to get me a plate? Would you be able to get me a bottle of water? Now, would you is the ability of a person again, right? So, will they be in a position to do that? Will they be not in a position to do that? How can they help you? Is something that you leave it up to the person. Would you be able to do this for me? No, I'll not be able to do that for you. But then, in a request, that's where it comes. You can expect a negative response or you can expect a positive response. Now, handling that is what is called managing the situation. That's not to do with the language. That's more to do with the skills, what we call as your ability to navigate through that conversation, managing the conversation, handling the conversation. Now, the best way I always recommend is start using may I sentences. May I, may I know the time. All right. May I ask you for a favor? May I ask you to help me with this? May I is always polite. So it's the month of May. You can always use may. May is something which you can definitely, you want to ask for an update. You have sent a leave request for the upcoming weekend, and then you want to ask your supervisor for an update. Now, can I have an update? May sound a little rude or a little not very pleasant. So now if you're asking, may I please know the status of my leave request? Is a very polite way of asking for. I was wondering if I may ask you if you have approved my leave. That's another way of asking, have you approved my leave? So these are the ways that you can go ahead and do that. Now, I will probably, I'll get back to the another 10 sentences that we want to cover today in the next few minutes. Now, one of them is you're done with asking time to your colleague. You want your colleague to see if they can help you with a cab for you, right? So you may go ahead and ask them, can you please book a cab for me? Can you please book a cab for me? Right? So because that is how you probably ask whether they can help you with in getting a cab. Now, the next question, the common thing that happens at office or at work is, you're trying to call someone, you're trying to, get an get them into a conversation on a telephone. You're not able to get through them. So now you can always say, I tried calling you. I just want to see if you're in a position to answer the phone. Now, you probably say, can you please answer the phone, as a way of asking. Always start the sentence with the context, right? So that is how it is. All right. Or you can always say that I tried calling you. Can we please, get on a phone call, right? So that's what is the way the message should be sent. So we have learned 2 more sentences. That's 7 sentences for the day. Now let's also get to another one. The common thing that always happens is you want to ask someone something beyond work in the sense what they're supposed to do. You would want an additional thing to be done. So you can always ask them, could I ask you to do me a favor? Could I ask you to do me a favor? Is something that you want to ask whenever you're asking for a favor. Or a simple sentence sometimes is also to check with them. May I ask you for a favor? That's a polite way of asking. May I ask you for a favor? That means you're asking them whether you can ask them for a favor. That's what it is. Now you're sitting in your hall, and then in a meeting room, and there are water bottles. There is glass of water. You want someone to pass that to you, so you can ask them, can I have a glass of water, please? Can I have a glass of water, please? Is what you can ask them for. Now, it's a busy day. Your colleague sitting right next to you is stepping out for a coffee. Then you ask them, where are you going? They say that, hey, I'm going for a break. I'm going to the coffee machine. So you can always ask them, could you please bring me a coffee? Could you please bring me a coffee? All right. So that's the way you can ask them, could you please bring me a coffee? Now, the most common thing that happens at office next is also something where you want to take a photo at the entrance of your office. You want to see how you want to just ask someone if they can help you taking a photograph, right? So you want to ask someone who's there from a different team, but then you're a little shy of asking about it because you don't know how to ask. So you can always say, would you mind taking a photo of us? Would you mind taking a photo of us? All right, is what you will go ahead and ask them how to click a photograph of yours. All right. Now, this is the most common thing, right? This is the most common thing. The next one that happens is the most common thing, which is whenever there's a conversation, whenever there is something that is happening, you always ask people, can you please send me an email? Can you please send me an email? Right? So that's the most common statement which is used at work. Can you please send me an email? May I have an email for this is an alternate statement. Can you please send me an email? May I have an email sent for this is an alternate statement. Okay. Now, these are 12 sentences that we have learned this evening. I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to see if there's any question in the chat box. I'm going to see if Srilekha has a question before we get on with the next 3 sentences for this evening. Srilekha, anything on the chat box?
No, Rudra. So I don't have any question in chat box, but I have in live Divakar. If Divakar have any question or any comment, Divakar can unmute his mic and share.
Sure. Anybody who's there?
So I have just received thumbs up for the show. So maybe people liked it. So that's what I received in my WhatsApp from
Wonderful.
the listeners.
Nice to know that. Great people. I'm really happy I'm able to get all of this done for you. I'm really happy that Srilekha has been behind this, to get all of these. She takes kind of a lot of effort to put these things together and ensure that people are listening, ensuring that the radio jockeys getting this done, and to participate. So I'm excited as well. So I'm going to give a couple of more sentences for this, and then great to hear that, Srileka, that we have a thumbs up for this, and we will definitely cater to people as requests, right? So we would really want to do that as we progress, as we get on with the show, right? Now, you want to get back home. You are sitting on one side of your table, and there's your colleague on the other side of the table. You want to ask them to give your bag right from then. So you can always ask them, could you please pass my bag? Could you please pass my bag? Or you can ask, could you please help me get the bag? All right, could you please help me get the bag? All right, may I have the bag from there? That's another way of asking. All right. Now, these are the things that you can, help with people. Now, one more sentence is we're all hesitant to ask about what we want, right? So let's think through that. We have a birthday bash happening at the office. They're cutting cakes, and you really love the cake, and you want to ask for another piece. Now, you really don't know how to ask for that piece of cake. Now, you can always ask, "Can I have a slice of cake, please?" All right, you want to ask additional piece of cake. You can always ask, can I have another slice of cake, please? Is if you want one more, or you want that cake, you can always, can I have a slice of cake, please? You can always ask that in that way. So that's one thing. Now, also another sentence, while you want to ask, or all of these sentences, the 14 sentences, when you want help. Now, how do you ask someone that you can help them? There's a request in a way that you want to help them, right? So there are multiple ways of asking that. That's a 15th sentence. You can always ask them, can I help you? May I help you? Can I do that for you? Shall I help you with that? Right? So now you're chatting with someone, your supervisor or someone. There's another way of asking, shall I, right? Shall I call you on your mobile? Or do you want me to call you on your mobile? Because you're chatting on Google Chat, but people say that you feel you want to talk. So you ask them, shall I call you on your mobile? Now, quickly, I'm going to brush through all of these sentences, the 15 sentences that we learned. And these sentences are for making requests. The reason I picked this up at the second class itself is because a lot of us at a lot of time have twofold problems in making requests. One is for us to get out of our shell and making that request. So when we open up to ask a request, all right, we always have this challenge that, am I going to be talking in the right way? So that is why I gave this. Now, let's go ahead and quickly list them down, which are going to be, could you please pass the salt? Anything that you want from the other side, you can always ask using this statement. Could you please pass the markers? Could you please pass the duster? Could you please pass the pen? Instead of the salt, you can use anything here. Could you please pass? What is the sentence, right? So could you please pass the pen? Could you please pass the bottle? Could you please pass the bag? Could you please pass the laptop? Could you please pass the remote? So the word salt can be replaced with anything, but what is the major of the sentence is, could you please pass it? Pass it is when you want something, when you ask for it. It's already there. You want them to get it to you. You ask this way. Now, can you help me with this, please? You want someone to help you with a task. You want someone to help you with a login. You want someone to help you with your laptop. You go to the IT. You say, can you please help me, repairing this? Can you please help me installing this? Can you please help me deleting this? So that with is something that can be replaced with anything that you want. Can you please help me with this? So that with, like the salt can be replaced with anything, is where can you please help me with. Now the with can be anything. Can you please help me with the login? Can you please help me with the installation? Can you please help me with the door? Can you please help me with the mobile? Can you please help me with uninstalling it? Anything can be replaced with. All right. Now, the next one is, would you mind closing the window? Would you mind closing the window? Can be the word window can be replaced with anything. Would you mind closing the door? Would you mind closing the box? Would you mind closing the, what do you call, anything that has a lid can be asked to close. Can you would you mind closing the pot? So that's the way that you go ahead and change that word window there. Now, could I borrow your pen, please? Now, could I borrow your pen? Can the pen can be replaced with anything, right? So could I borrow your pencil? Could I borrow your mobile? Could I borrow your charger? Could I borrow your laptop? Anything can be placed with pen. Could you tell me the time, right? Could you tell me whether it's raining? Could you tell me whether it is hot? What could you tell me how is the traffic outside? So you can ask anything with could you tell me? All right. Can you please call a taxi for me? Can you please call a cab for me? Can you please call the driver for me? Can you please call the police for me? Can you please call the railway station for me? Can you please call the hospital for me? Now you can replace the word taxi or the cab with anything and you would get this. Would you please answer the phone? Would you please answer the email? Would you please answer the doorbell? So the phone can be replaced with anything. That's how it is. All right. Now, could I ask you to do me a favor? All right. Could I ask you to, can be replaced with a favor, with a task, with an email, with a anything that can be asked for can be replaced. The word favor can be replaced. Can I have a glass of water? Can I have a bottle of water? Can I have a can I have a coffee, please? So you can always ask this sentence of, can I have that glass, right? So I already spoke about a slice of cake. So this all is something which comes under the same thing. Could you please bring me a coffee is another way of asking if someone is stepping out. Would you mind taking a photo of us? So would you mind taking a video of us is also will fit into this. Can you please send me an email? All right. Can you please share the email with me? So anyways, you can replace that and ask this. Could you please help me with the bag? Could you please help me with the chair? Could you please help me with the duster? Could you please help me with the markers? Could you please help me with the pen? So you can replace this and ask any sentence with that. Can I help you? May I help you? Can I do that for you? Shall I help you with that? Are the alternate sentence when you want to offer help to someone. So this is what I had for the day. I'm going to pause for a moment and see if someone has a question, someone has a comment or something before we close for the day. Srilekha.
Yes, Rudra. So whatever the question you've been asking, I also chatted, simultaneously chat in our group. So I have got answers from many of them. So like when you were talking about, would you mind closing? So many people said door for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you please call dash? So many people gave me the answer like call and email.
Yes.
And would you please answer for that? Like they gave question, the call.
Mm-hmm.
So people responded it like,
wonderful.
Can I have a dash, please? So many mentioned like a glass of water.
Yes.
Can I have your pen, please?
Yes, that's
and
right.
Also I got the answer window for would you mind closing the window?
Yes, so that's right.
So I would also love to name these people who commented us like Divakar, Purnima, Sumuka from Kapu. So Manoj. So these are the people who are live replying to your quiz in our WhatsApp.
Wonderful. That's really nice that we're having a lot of participation from here. So as I said, this show is called the Grammatist Show. It's going to be happening every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Do not miss tuning in, people. So I'm really happy that there's a lot of responses that's coming in, Sri Lanka. There's a lot of thanks for recording them and thanks for reading that out. It's really amazing the way you are helping me out with all of these things. And I'm really happy about the way that show is coming up and the people are responding. We would really have to, we would really love to have many more of these shows. And this happens every Monday at 5:30 p.m. And this is called the Grammatist, and it's a show for learning English. And I'm not going to get into complex grammatical areas. I'm not going to get into too many the do's and the don'ts. I'm going to teach you an easy way, the sentences that you can use to express yourself, and the examples that you can use to express yourself.
Rudra, we missed you. Hello, Rudra. Hello, hello. Shakti, am I audible? Okay,
All right, I think I had a glitch there. I'm back
okay.
again. Right, so I had a technical glitch. I'm sorry about it. Now, so can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Rudra. Yes.
Great, wonderful. So it's always been a pleasure to be here on DC Live. As I say, it's been a great experience for me as well to talk to people and to really tune in here and have people listen. And people, this is RJ Rudra signing off today. Stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we are on air, and we share. So we would want all of you to tune in on Thursday as well for the Quick Brain, the Minimalist Show, and that happens at 5:30 on Thursday. And the next episode of Grammatist will be on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Hope you all enjoyed the show. I did so, and I'm signing off for this week with the Grammatist Show. Thank you so much, Srilekha, for having me here, and
Thanks.
thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rudra. And also, when Rudra was taking the show, I texted in the group with people who are responding to Rudra's tour with the quiz, whatever I'm posting in the WhatsApp group. You will definitely will win the Amazon voucher. Amazon voucher will reach to your WhatsApp number. Those who replied to me, thanks for joining and thanks for keeping us live and thanks for chatting with us. I could see many people from TN Palim and Kapu were actively responding to all the question what Rudra were asking in the live. So thank you so much. So join us back on Thursday, same at 5:30 p.m. Definitely we're going to have fun with you and you will enjoy the segment. Don't miss out. So stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we share, and we are on air. Once again, thanks, Rudra.